Jason, as it is each and every week, the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to the good people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
Budget Blinds!
Hey, on behalf of Budget Blinds, I want to give a big Lee Summit Town Hall thank you.
Thank you.
To everyone who helped support Lee Summit Social Services through Budget Blinds Pictures with Santa event and for the annual 12-ish bars of Christmas pub crawl. The Budget Blinds team works very hard for these two big events, and both were, Jason, huge successes.
And we just want to note that your support of our robot shade overlords will be noted and appreciated in the future.
Hey, and Jason, remember, automated shades provide a safer environment for children and pets due to their cordless nature. Also, their programmable features, they allow you to use heating or cooling only when you need it to achieve maximum energy efficiency.
All hail.
So go visit our friends at Budget Blinds of Lee Summit. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you. Hello and welcome to this Friday conversation edition of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast. I'm not going to call him a special guest today because Matt Sanning, the Executive Director of Lee Summit Social Services, is a many-time visitor to the podcast. But Matt, I want you on today. We're not going to talk about social services. Well, we might a little bit. It might slide in just a little bit. Okay. But I have you on today because I want to talk about the Lee Summit Rotary Club. I have had several invites. I've never been, but I think as the show has done, we've tried to talk to a lot of different groups around the community. And so let's talk a little bit about Rotary, or as I like to call you, the Rottenarians.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's someone that might take a little bit of offense to that. I'm just kidding. I kid because I love. But so what the heck is the Rotary Club?
I'm so glad that you asked that question. We are the world's largest service volunteer organization. We have 1.2 million members in Rotary International. The great thing about what Rotary means to an individual community is the sky's kind of the limit. We have 6 areas of focus, and it ranges from children's well-being to mother's health, eradicating polio, education, literacy. There's so many different components. What a lot of Rotary clubs do, and what we do here in town, is we focus on the community. Now, we do international projects, and we contribute to the eradication of polio, but in this community, it's hard to go very far without seeing the impact of Rotary in some way, shape, or form. Now, our community has 3 Rotary clubs.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird to me.
Some people like to wake up at 7 a.m. and have their meetings early.
Yeah, I know. I'm not that guy.
Some people want a lunch, and some people might want an after-hours cocktail. And we actually have 4 different clubs right now because we have a brand new satellite club at John Knox Village.
Wow. Now you are currently the for this year the president of the lunch club.
That's correct.
So you are you are the Nooners.
Yes, we're the Nooners, and we have 160 in our club, and we have regular attendance of about 90. And so we're very fortunate to have such an impactful group of people in the community taking part in this club. And I wish I could say that something brilliant happened that led to the presidency, but it wasn't. It was more of who was.
Were you just next in line? Was it like you just didn't have a choice?
I think the call was, hey, would you be president in 2 years? And I said, you don't have anybody else, do you? And they said, well, not yet. And so I went through 2 years.
So you were the backup
training.
plan.
I was probably the backup's backup.
Okay.
Right. But no, it's been an honor. We are a club, a strong club. All the Rotary clubs here in town are incredibly strong at what they do. And it's just an honor to be part of such a good group of people.
You mentioned that you can easily see things that happen locally that your clubs have impacted, and I want to be inclusive of all 4 Rotary clubs in town. So what are some of the things locally that these clubs have impacted? What are you talking about?
Well, so all the nonprofits have benefited. All the nonprofits in Lee Summit have benefited in some way from the Rotary clubs. Each Rotary club has maybe some more focus on 1 or 2 of the nonprofits. But if you look at, you remember Smoking on the Summit.
Yes.
Okay. The Downtown Rotary Club ran that for a number of years. And so agencies like One Good Meal and Lee Summit Social Services, we were benefactors for that, along with a number of others. The Sunrise Rotary Club that met this morning presented a $10,000 check to 4 different nonprofits here in town, and that was for the Feed Lee Summit. The Rotary Club of Lee Summit, the Noon Club, we have scholarship programs for kids to go to MCC Longview so that they have no debt through their first 2 years of college. They also do grants for nonprofits, and all those are done through fundraisers and through other activities generated within the club.
What drew you to Rotary? And I asked this because I've worked with newspapers in communities throughout the Midwest, even across the country. Every community seems to have a different club as kind of the club, right? That's doing the work out in the community, whether it's Rotary, whether it's Kiwanis, whether it's the Lions Club, which, by the way, don't feel special. I have funny nicknames for all of those clubs.
Sure.
But so what? Why is the Rotary maybe kind of the bigger premier thing here, and what drew you in?
Well, in all honesty, the reason why I joined Rotary, when I started with Lee Summit Social Services, I needed to get out into the community and I needed to introduce myself. It was really strictly a networking opportunity. We were already part of the chamber, and then the Rotary Club was going to give us some money. It was a grant that we had been honored with, and so I think it was a $2,000 check. And so after I got back from the meeting, I asked my Geneva, my grandmother, I said, do you think I could be part of this club? And she goes, well, I don't know how to go about doing that, so let's call somebody I know. And they said, sure, come on in. So really my entry to Rotary was strictly for business and networking purposes. And after about 2 years of kind of going through the all the meetings, I realized what we were actually doing. The impact that we were making not only in the community but throughout the world with every dollar or every hour of volunteerism, and then the opportunities to get to know some of the most amazing people in this community. And it totally restructured my understanding of what this club was about. And the Lions and the Kiwanis are all very similar in that way. It's that bond that you have with those members and the opportunities to serve your community, and I work at the agency. And I love what I do. And sometimes it's really easy to get wrapped up into your role. But whenever you step into that meeting on a Thursday, it takes you into a whole different dynamic in the way you think about the community and about the opportunities to serve your community. And it's given me a new perspective on what it is that we do.
Well, and I that was kind of one of my questions was how do you split that? Because I think I would think that in your role as the director of one nonprofit of Lee Summit Social Services, when you go sit at that table with the Rotarians and they're talking about who can we go help, I mean, there's got to be a part of it that's like, hey, I know a place.
Yep.
But so how do you find a way to balance and then also to look, we get great feelings by helping, right? And you have been a part of the Lee Summit community your whole life. So how do you allow yourself, I guess, to be of service elsewhere? Is that a hard battle for yourself?
It used to be. It used to be that I wanted to be the only nonprofit out there. And then I realized that there are so many other organizations in our community that serve so many other needs. One Good Meal, Meals on Wheels, Cold Water, Hillcrest, Lee Summit Cares.
Don't try to name them all.
Yeah, I won't. But what I'm saying is that everyone fills a different need.
Right.
Developing potential. There are so many different great organizations. And you know what, in all honesty, the best way that a nonprofit can serve our community, especially when you're employed by one, is to go find out what these other folks do. And so Rotary afforded me an opportunity to go learn about these other nonprofits, which not only gave me the knowledge of knowing what they did, but also to be able to share that message with our clients and share it with our other staff members to say these other folks can fill these gaps where we cannot, where we should not. We are not mental health specialists, but what we do know is who is. And so by having those connections, yes, you always want to be the nonprofit, but at the same time, when as a Rotarian, there's a 4-way test. And the 4-way test is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? And when you think about it in that light, you're able to think outside of just your own world. And we have so many great nonprofits in our community, and so it's really easy to say, you know what, this is a great fit for you. This is where these folks need to go. These people all need the same amount of love, and because they're all working their tails off. They're spending 60 hours a week trying to serve the community. And so it's not just about us. It's about a holistic approach to improving the quality of life in this community.
I asked you this a little bit before we flipped on the recorder, and I'm going to ask you this 2 ways, both as the Rotary Club, and then also maybe as just as a person. How do you guys go through that? Decide, hey, who are we going to support? And I asked that because this is the holiday season. This is Christmas time. Everybody's feeling generous.
Yes.
Everybody wants to help and to give, and that's awesome. But at the same time, everybody's asking.
Yes.
And I just had a meeting this week with a community member who is an incredible philanthropist and donor throughout not just Lee Summit, but the KC area and beyond. And we were just talking about the number of asks that keep coming, and that's fine. But how do you make those decisions? How do you guys decide here's where we can make the best impact?
Right. Well, so first it starts with our 6 areas of focus. Are we aligning with Rotary International's intent? And if the answer is yes, then we look at how many dollars we have.
What is that intent?
That intent is to serve within those areas. It's intended to match up with the nonprofits that are doing the type of work that Rotary International supports. So women and children's health, literacy, clean water, and then general public service. And then on a local level, which nonprofits here in town are making the biggest impact to the most number of people. And so we go through a vetting process. It's an application process for the grant, and that is probably the most visible. There are times when young scouts or Eagle Scout candidates come in and they need a quick, let's pass the hat and maybe raise a couple $100, and the Rotarians that are willing to give do. And so they can selectively support whatever. They also, again, support the eradication of polio, and that's one of the initiatives of of not just our club, but Rotary International in general. And so we have those areas of focus. And the scholarship programs, that's through an application process. And so everything is vetted by a committee of people that have been through it before, that know what those areas of focus are, and that are closely aligning Rotary's beliefs with those that we serve. Now, some nonprofits apply and don't get the money, and so, hopefully, we can give them some idea of how they can better align their mission. There are other nonprofits that simply aren't a good fit, but most of them have a great fit, and I would imagine for the selection committee that's a very difficult decision, but part of that is the understanding of what they do for the community and whether or not it's a great fit for our club in that partnership going forward.
How do you think you would suggest to people individually, and just even wearing your hat as the director of a nonprofit, that when they look at all of these things that come to them, how would you suggest people maybe weigh and see where they individually or as a family can make impacts locally? We talk about that a lot on this Town Hall podcast, about you can affect more change locally in your backyard than you can anywhere else in the country,
right,
whether it's statewide or federal. This is where you can make change, right here. So how do you suggest people kind of evaluate and choose the places where they can have an impact?
Well, I think your program is a great way to start understanding how, because you bring in a lot of nonprofits and you bring in a lot of folks that are connected with the community. I think that there are opportunities with social events, and even if you think about downtown days or Oktoberfest, or visiting a Rotary Club, or visiting the Chamber of Commerce, I think you can at least maybe find your passion. And if you think you love soccer, you've got Sporting Lee Summit that you can go volunteer for. And then if you find out, hey, I'm not really a Saturday person, then you can start gauging your interest in other areas. And Lee Summit is I don't know if it's unique or not. It's what I know. But I think we've got something for everybody. And so I think the first thing you can do is talk to your friends, your neighbors, your church, and find out what opportunities are out there, and then walk into that nonprofit, walk into that club and say, all right, I don't know what I'm looking for, but does anyone have a suggestion? You're going to find something. There's too many good things happening in Lee Summit right now across the board that I can't imagine anyone not finding something that piques their interest, that tugs on their heartstrings, that goes towards their passion, whether you're 5 years old or you're 85 years old, it doesn't matter. There's something out here for you. So I think you need to start asking the questions, get online. Heck, walk into the agency, walk into our agency and say, I'm looking for some place to sort food. Well, I got a place for you. And if you want to do it on a different day, here's another place for you. It's just a matter of reaching out to somebody. Somebody's going to know somebody else. There's a website out there somewhere. Facebook's a great opportunity, I think. I haven't been on there in a while, but
I'm gonna say this.
Uh-huh.
I like you. I have a love-hate relationship with the social media. You opted to get out of it.
I did.
And in some ways, you are probably healthier for it.
You know what? I sleep well, not always being kept up on the news.
Except for when you listen to Lee Summit Town Hall and you read Link to Lee Summit.
Every time. But no, you just get out. Just get out in the community and go ask questions. You're going to run into somebody. Go to one of our downtown merchants and walk in, and I can almost guarantee you somebody's going to know 10 nonprofits and 20 other opportunities that you can take part in. And it's just a matter of connecting with your community and interacting with the people that you live with.
Okay, well, this was short but sweet, right?
Love it.
So I'm going to finish with questions we like to ask everybody that comes on about their clubs and their organizations. If somebody wants to get involved, whether they want to donate time, whether they want to donate money, whether they want to just go have a lunch, how can people get involved with Rotary?
Okay, so there's 3 clubs in town. Well, there's 4. There's a satellite club at John Knox Village. But if you go to lsrotary.org, you can get to our club. If you just Google Rotary near me, you're going to have a ton of options. If you work in Kansas City, there's a Kansas City club. If you work in Raytown, there's the Raytown club. All Rotary clubs are different, and they're all amazing. And so just find one that fits for you. That's how you get involved with Rotary. Google it and talk to somebody. I can guarantee you, if you ask somebody in this community, somebody knows a Rotarian. That's how impactful Rotarians are in this community, and that's what we love about it. So just reach out, go to our website, go to any Rotary website.
All right, I like to do this. I like to call people out that don't know we're going to get to call them out. So give me 2 names. Give me a name from the Sunrise Rotary and a name from the Downtown Rotary that would be great for people to connect with.
You got it. David Fritz over at the Sunrise Rotary. The Downtown
a recent guest.
There you go. See? Told you. And then let's see. With the Downtown Rotary, you've got Rhonda Wood. And she's with the Bank of Green Valley, I believe. If I've made a mistake there, I am so sorry. But yeah, Rhonda Wood is absolutely amazing over there. And then for our club, you can reach me, or it seems like everyone knows Carl Chenery, so you can always reach out to Carl.
Who doesn't know Carl Chenery?
I'm
guy
still
knows
trying to figure that out.
everybody.
Yeah, he's recruited 90% of the club. Just reach out. You're going to find a time slot that works for you and a day that works for you. And we would just love to have you as our guest. Come watch some of our presentations. We have great interactions with the schools, the high schools. They come in and do their Christmas caroling and their holiday programs. We hear about their robotics programs. Just amazing programs all around. Yesterday we had a great presentation by Joe Hyde, who's with Edward Jones, and he did this incredible program on JDRF and the what will be the cure to diabetes. And so that was really impactful for a lot of us, and it meant a lot. And we have those subject matter experts come into our clubs all the time, and so there's always something to learn and something to value.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I want to thank you for coming on the show again.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for
and
having
for
me.
telling us about the Rotary clubs and what they do and how people can get involved. Just one more way that people can be involved in the community and keep making this a better place to live.
Thanks
for
having me.
You have been listening to Lee Summit Town Hall, a Link to Lee Summit podcast with hosts Nick Parker and Jason Norberry. A proud member of the Fredcast Network, you can subscribe to this podcast on most of your favorite podcast apps and catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all the news, analysis, and conversations on the Lee Summit community. Connect with us on Facebook at Link to Lee Summit or on Twitter at LS Town Hall.